It was a late Tuesday, just after 9 p.m. The Johnson family's home was quiet, with only the faint hum of the neighborhood outside. The house, which had felt warm and familiar only hours before, was now chillingly empty. The lights were still on, but something was terribly wrong. The babysitter, Emily Carter, had been entrusted with looking after the family's young daughter. But now, both Emily and the child were missing, and the family was about to face a nightmare they never saw coming. Emily Carter was a 25-year-old woman, well known in the community for her quiet demeanor and good reputation. She had been working as a part-time babysitter for several families, including the Johnsons, for the past few years. A graduate from the local university, Emily was seen as someone with a promising future ahead of her. She was hardworking, reliable, and had always demonstrated maturity and responsibility. At least, that's what the people around her believed. The Johnsons had hired Emily to watch over their 5-year-old daughter, Lily, that evening. The parents, Michael and Sandra Johnson, had been planning a dinner date for a while and were eager to spend some time alone. They trusted Emily completely, which is why they were not concerned when they left their daughter in her care. But when they returned home, the situation would unravel in the most unimaginable way. Around 9:30 p.m., when the Johnsons returned home, they found the front door unlocked. The lights were still on inside, but the house was eerily quiet. They immediately noticed that the family dog, normally alert and greeting them by the door, was nowhere to be found. Inside the house, there was no sign of Emily or Lily. The front door was ajar, and there was an unsettling stillness in the air. Lily's favorite stuffed toy was left by the couch, untouched. There were no signs of a struggle, but the feeling of dread was palpable. Emily's car was still parked outside, but there was no trace of either her or the young girl. The only clue, Emily's phone, was found on the kitchen counter. Its screen cracked, with a strange message from an unknown number that read, "It's done. She's with me now." The Johnsons immediately called 911, their voices filled with panic. The police arrived shortly after, launching an immediate search of the area. The first officers on the scene were met with confusion. The house appeared perfectly normal, almost too normal. There were no signs of forced entry, no overturned furniture, and nothing in the home indicated that a violent crime had taken place. However, the child and the babysitter had vanished, leaving behind only questions and fear. As the hours ticked by, the investigation into Emily's sudden disappearance began to unfold. The police checked for nearby surveillance footage, hoping to catch a glimpse of Emily leaving with Lily. What they found was disturbing. A local gas station camera revealed footage of Emily and Lily walking down a deserted street around 8:30 p.m., less than an hour before the Johnsons returned home. The footage showed Emily and the child walking calmly, but no one could say where they were heading. As the investigation continued, the police started digging into Emily's background. They discovered that while she had been seen as a sweet, hardworking woman by most of the town, there was more to her story than anyone had realized. Emily had recently been dealing with some personal issues. She had been in a tumultuous relationship with a man named Daniel Harris, a man in his early 30s. Daniel was someone with a troubled past. He had a history of violence, though no one had really known the extent of it until recently. Emily had been dating Daniel for the past year, but things had become increasingly unstable. Friends and family close to Emily noted that she had been withdrawn, often canceling plans with her friends and becoming secretive. Daniel, however, was well known in the town as someone who had difficulty keeping jobs and often caused trouble. His reputation was marred by accusations of harassment and other aggressive behavior. In the months leading up to Emily's disappearance, the couple had been in an on-again, off-again relationship. Emily had confided in a few friends that she was afraid of Daniel and had started distancing herself from him. But despite her reservations, she hadn't fully cut ties with him. The police learned that Emily had recently blocked Daniel's number and was planning to break up with him. However, it appeared that Daniel wasn't willing to let her go so easily. A breakthrough in the case came when investigators obtained Emily's phone records. It revealed that just hours before the Johnsons returned home, Emily had sent several frantic messages to a friend, telling them that Daniel was threatening her and that she needed to get away from him. In one message, Emily wrote, "I'm scared. He's not leaving me alone, and I don't know what to do. I just want to get away from him, but I don't know how." The police also learned that Emily had made a plan to meet Daniel later that night. She had arranged to meet him in a secluded area outside of town, and it was believed that she intended to confront him about their toxic relationship. But when Emily didn't show up at the meeting point, Daniel reportedly became furious. When police tracked down Daniel Harris, they discovered he was hiding out at his mother's house on the outskirts of the city. He was immediately brought in for questioning. Daniel denied having any involvement in Emily's disappearance. He claimed that he had not seen her in days and that he had no idea where she had gone. However, his alibi didn't check out. Security footage from a nearby ATM showed Daniel withdrawing a large sum of money late that evening, just hours after Emily and Lily had vanished. As the days passed, the investigation took a darker turn. The police obtained additional surveillance footage, this time from an isolated area just outside of town. The footage showed Emily's car parked near an abandoned warehouse, and through the grainy footage, Emily and Daniel could be seen getting out of the car together. They appeared to be arguing. By the time the police located the warehouse, it was too late. Inside, they discovered Emily's lifeless body, hidden in the back of the building. She had been strangled, and it was clear that she had fought back. The police also found signs of a struggle in the dirt, suggesting that Emily had tried to escape before being overpowered. Daniel Harris was arrested for the murder of Emily Carter. He was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, and child endangerment. The police later discovered that he had been the one who had contacted Emily's phone, sending the chilling text message. He had lured her away from the house with promises of reconciliation, but it was all a trap. The murder of Emily Carter shocked the community. A woman who had once been seen as a model of responsibility had become the victim of an incredibly tragic crime, all because of her relationship with a man who was obsessed with controlling her. The community rallied around Emily's family and friends, mourning the loss of someone who had been a bright light in their lives. For the Johnson family, the pain of losing their trusted babysitter and the child they had entrusted to her care was unbearable. The case left a scar on the town that would take years to heal. The tragic events served as a reminder of how quickly trust could be betrayed and how deep the damage could go. Daniel Harris was ultimately convicted of all charges, and he was sentenced to life in prison.